Hello and welcome to episode 8 of UK NBA. I'm Ryan Hillback and there is Pete.
This is Peter Wells. As you can see, starting without me again.
I wanted to get it going because I realise I'm quite pressed for time and you were drinking water and messing with your phone or doing something. So this is episode 8 and it's part 1 of UK NBA. And let's just get the camera straight a little bit because I'm pushed out of the equation a little bit there. No, that's what you're trying to do that on purpose.
Just think I've noted it, but we are going to start with all the latest news and we're going to look at last week's results. So, Ryan, you want to fire away?
And it's a managerial casualty, or should I say a coaching casualty first. Mike Malone has been fired as the head coach of the Sacramento Kings. I bet he won't be getting coach of the week, will he?
He was on the list, Dan. But no, it's been a tough run for the Sacramento Kings. Lost a few in a row, 2-8 in the last 10. I think it's rather harsh though. I think they're in the playoff hunt at the moment, and the only reason they've had a bad run is because DeMarcus Cousins has been injured.
Yeah, we alluded to that last week or the week before about the return of DeMarcus Cousins, how that could change the Kings' fortunes. But I slightly disagree with you on this one. I've seen a fair bit of the Kings, and I think that the coach was making some poor decisions in key times, and any managerial casualties or coaching casualties is difficult to take.
Yep.
But I think on this occasion they made the right decision, and now it's who will step in, who's going to be the replacement.
I just find it weird because the Kings have been struggling for the last few years with DeMarcus Cousins, with Rudy Gay and other players, and we've been disappointed by them. Yet the season they're having a good year, find a coach. Finally, a legitimate.
Do you think that if we take it another way, do you think there's been an argument or something that we're not privy to? Because I don't.
Well, has been.
There's probably been some other
behind the scenes, but again, somebody like DeMarcus Cousins is just going to negatively affect on him. We know he's sometimes not mentally fragile, but he sometimes can lose his head in the game. Sometimes can be hard to coach.
And could this be now? Could he be seeking a move?
Exactly. Could Mike Malone? By what we've seen this season, there's been no DeMarcus Cousins raving at the referee. He's been the calming factor on that team. Now suddenly that could change now.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Mike Malone that was making DeMarcus Cousins into that man. And maybe now, obviously, DeMarcus Cousins and other players might be looking at it as well. Mike was doing a good job. We were in the playoff hunt. We've had a bit of a bad run, like every team does, without our best player. And straight away he's been fired.
But it could be interesting to watch developments now and see if these players trade.
We'll have to see, obviously, what they're going to be thinking. There will be reactions such as players when they go to free agency. Obviously, Rudy Gay is not going to be doing that because he's obviously recently signed an extension.
he can't at the moment.
So,
or he probably can, but he just wouldn't make any sense.
He would push for a trade, but obviously wouldn't be able to say, look at free agents like other players can.
And speaking about DeMarcus Cousins, he's unfortunately been diagnosed with meningitis,
which is
really sad news.
Yeah, we hope for the best for DeMarcus. Obviously, no timeline. We just can't.
Meningitis sounds sometimes a lot worse than it sometimes is. It's one of those words. Yeah. Hopefully, though, he'll have the right medical treatment.
Yeah, they should have the right medical treatment, especially with a player like that. Also, the good news is we have seen him at games. He's been at courtside, so he's not at home in bed or whatever.
He's getting out and about, which is always a positive sign.
He's with the team. He's dressed up in the suit and everything, so he's looking generally okay. It's just the fact that there's no way he can get out there and train or play with that.
So we wish him a speedy recovery. You might have already seen this in the newspapers or whatnot, but there was a bit of a royal visit in Brooklyn. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and of course, if you're not watching this in Britain, they are William and Kate, who William's the grandson of the Queen and Kate his wife, and
blah, blah, blah.
all that jazz and whatnot. And they attended the Cavaliers and the Nets game on Monday. Yeah. I'm being a bit cynical. Why is that on there? Because what's that got to do with the Foster Tunes?
That is good news. That is big news. In America, that was big news. And
I'm a bit of a royal cynic, I am.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why we have to have a song and dance about the fact that two people went to a basketball game.
A big thing. It's big news it's especially in America. Obviously, it's not that big news that they attended the
game, but it was
game.
I suppose it was more of the fact that
they were visiting
the tour,
New York
and the fact that Kate went to Harlem to a child development centre, and Prince William went to see Barack Obama and talk about the illegal ivory trade. But I don't mind the rules, but it just seems that if like Kate passed wind, it would be on the front page of the paper.
But I think for our American cousins who are watching this, this is big news for them. Attending a basketball game, they're going to see them. You saw on the NBA TV and everything. They're all over. The cameras are on them all the time. And you've seen the likes of Dikembe having popcorn with them. It was big news for America.
Well, it's good to see that there's some British influence in America, as there is a lot of American influence in this country. Really.
And also, the Duchess and the Duke got to meet the King, LeBron James.
Yeah, well.
So
he's does play for the best team in the world. There is no doubt about that.
It's the Miami with his 2 championships and 4 finals.
Yeah, but what he's going to do with the Cavaliers to Miami on Christmas Day is going to make up for that. He's going to go to Miami and he's going to show you what you're missing.
So.
This is another bit of not so great news. Ian. Mahimni. Why do you always get me to say all these names? It's
You're very good at going for the news.
If any of you guys are aware of Paul Merson on Soccer Saturday having problems with mispronouncing names, I'm probably Paul Merson.
Yeah.
If you don't know who that is in America, he's some soccer player or ex-soccer player. Yes, Ian Mahimni
Mahimni.
That's the chap. He plays for the Indiana Pacers. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a torn left plantar fascia. You've done that on purpose, haven't you?
Yeah, that is obviously that's going to be a long time out, and
6 to 8 weeks.
Back up to Roy Hibbert, who was.
And the Indiana Pacers aren't having the best of times at the minute.
They're on a terrible moment now.
It's even more bad news, and to a depleted team really, because every time we do an injury report or an injury update, somebody from the Pacers is in there.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, here we go again. He's done it to me again. Bit of trade news. Here we go with some names yet again.
Andrei Kirilenko.
Andrei Kirilenko.
Was that?
Kirilenko.
Yeah.
And Jorge Gutierrez. That's 2-0.
Yeah.
Plus second round draft pick in 2020, traded to the 76ers from Nets for Brandon Davis. I always find it quite bizarre why there's such a massive sort of difference in dates. I mean, what are we talking about? 2020 now.
Well, they get a second round draft pick, which won't be much special, but it's usually for cap space. The Nets will know in 2020 they probably won't have the cap space to bring in that draft pick, so sending him off to Philly, and Philly have made a good profit there, with Kirilenko and Gutierrez.
They're 2 decent players. They're not great players, but they're decent enough in that league, in that team rather.
Yeah.
And it's decent, for the Philly, and they're picking up form now, getting a bit better. And any kind of confidence boost is welcome. There's been first quarter madness.
This last week,
It was all about. I don't know what we were seeing, because on Friday, LaMarcus Aldridge had 21 points, and the best player in NBA history, LeBron James, had 19 points in the first quarter of their respective games.
Yeah, 2 big starts, and that's what you want from your star players. You want them to get out early, aggressive, getting the points up, and then they can get into feeding with rebounds, assists, doing stuff like that. But when the teams are a little bit cold, not quite guarding,
release your best players. Get them going.
Get them going up to 20 points in the first quarter. If your best players getting 21 points in the quarter, then certainly you're going to get about 30 points in the quarter, which is great.
Jody Meeks made the season
debut.
That's what I really should be getting.
Yeah.
Jody Meeks made his season debut for Pistons in the win over Spurs, and we mentioned last week. It's really not going well today, is it?
No.
I might as well just go on. But anyway, for the win over the Phoenix Suns, not the San Antonio Spurs. And we obviously mentioned last week, Detroit Pistons. What has been going on there?
Well,
recently?
they've had a good week, haven't they? Beating the Suns, beating the Kings the other day, which closed
cost
on Mike Malone.
Yeah, his job.
They've had a decent week, so.
I'm more talking about prior to
overall,
to this week.
But
I'm aware of the fact that they've picked up. But I'm one of these cynical people that likes to look at a duration rather than a period of time. And I would say for the Detroit Pistons, it's not been fantastic so far this season.
No.
But 2 wins.
Yeah.
It's cost Mike Malone his job. So I'm sure he won't be best pleased with the Detroit Pistons.
No.
Brook Lopez for the Nets, the New York Nets. He could be outdoor, don't you mean for a week with a back injury. Pete's doing some typo mistakes, which is always interesting.
Should always correct it though.
He should.
But yeah, they'll be out.
I've read some shocking things on this screen in the last 8 weeks, I'm telling you. You can take us through these, Pete, if you want.
Yeah, well, Terence Jones, again, we've probably been saying this for a lot of players that could be returning this week. We're not sure. But the deadline is usually mid-December, and it's almost mid-December now. So hopefully Terence Jones could be back by the end of the week or next week. Iman Shumpert, bad news for the Knicks. He's out for 3 weeks at least with a dislocated shoulder, which he suffered last week. So that's a huge blow for them who are lacking in productivity at the moment.
Yeah, it's another injury problem for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, they've had a few.
They've had quite a few over recent weeks. Suffering really in many aspects, both on the court and off the court, with injuries and performances. But what can they do to?
It's hard to see. They're becoming a team that no one really wants to watch, and unfortunately, they're on telly a lot. And Americans will tell you about this. They're always on ESPN, TNT.
Is it because of the fact that it's New York?
It's a big team, and people expect more of the likes of Carmelo Anthony to lead the team.
It's like in this country with soccer or football.
Yeah.
Even when Man United last season were having an absolute stinker, every game would be Man United, because they're the best. Well, not the best, but the most iconic soccer team in England, probably in Europe, or maybe the world. And it's the same for the New York Knicks. Yeah,
big iconic team. And like I say, everybody's kind of waiting for that. There is a little bit less of them like the Lakers on TV this season, but you still get too much of it. And unfortunately, they're just not fun to watch.
No, it's been horrific.
When you see them play, they're playing the likes of OKC, the Bulls, the Cavs, Heat, Spurs, etc., and they're getting blown out. It's easy victories for
in games that should at least be competing and not necessarily winning, because you're talking about some of the best teams in the conference, but they should at least be competing.
Yeah, certainly. That's not been happening. Brilliant news for the Rockets. Dwight Howard finally returned on Saturday against Denver Nuggets. So that's just brilliant.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Really great player. Yeah. But they've had a great season.
Fantastic.
They've had a marvellous season.
James
the Houston
Harden
Rockets
has been out of this world.
He has. He's really stepped up. To the plate when they have suffered key injuries at certain times. You're worried for the Houston Rockets. You said, how are they going to be able to keep up the form and the momentum? But they've managed it. And now with Dwight Howard back, that's a formidable team right there.
And obviously Terence Jones as well could be returning next week, which is more great
Which
news.
is, again, and when you add those two into the mix, they'll cause anybody in NBA a problem.
Yeah.
And the last one surprises me, actually.
Yeah, brilliant news for Kobe Bryant fans. He overtook Michael Jordan on Sunday night into 3rd place.
I'm surprised about that one. I mean, I'm wondering how he's doing that for a team that are so dismal.
Such a brilliant score.
Shall we say, that just shows what a player he is. He could play for anybody in NBA.
I think
anybody.
He's up there, top 5, I think. Definitely top 10, probably top 5 greatest players of all time.
With LeBron James being number 1.
Yeah. Not quite yet, but he's up there. But you look, I think he's got potential now. I can't remember what the record is for the top scorer
No, I don't even know who it is, to be honest.
But he's on his way to reaching that level.
If you can tell us who the highest point scorer is, stick that in the comments, because
we'll have to find out. Yeah.
Well, we could find out. We could do a quick Google, and then in the second part, we'll tell you what that is.
Who that is? Yeah.
So yeah, is that it for part 1?
That's it for part 1. We'll be running through so I'll come back for key matchups and predictions as well. We've got key matchups of all the games over the 3-week holiday.
Yeah, it's that big one. It's Ryan versus Pete, also known as Heat versus Cavaliers. I want to know which side you're on.
Yeah, we've got a Christmas Day preview as well.
We have
5 big games that we're going to preview all of them. So see you later.
Yeah, and just before we do,
we do cut off.
Just before we cut off, we will Google who the highest scorer is in NBA history and tell you at the start of part 2, which is coming next.